Greetings and salutations, fellow viewer, person who has stumbled into this video, or maybe some unknown creature from a faraway planet. Today I will be talking about a baby game made for babies, made by babies, but played by a couple of familiar content creators for those who stuck around long enough to be familiar with what we're doing here. That, of course, being Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, a game I've held dear to me since its previous titles. And now, let's get into the meat and potatoes. I received an invitational to the official LaziBois Super Smash Bros. Ultimate tournament. A best 2 out of 3 double elimination tournament hosted by Q of Qniverse and my fellow content creator and partner in crime, Lazy. Will, myself, Pyra, and Mithra have what it takes to get to the bottom of this case, and see how far our determination, companionship, and assets take us. This is a true story involving triumph, learning, friendship, and putting it all to the test to show the LaziBois who the hell we think we are. It is time to row, fight the power. As everyone was starting up their round 1, people established that what they were capable of. Serval actually managing to go 2-0 on a very notable Yoshi player, but other upsets, such as Lazy going 0-2. Poor Tuggy couldn't live it down from his fellow host. But that's enough from me. It's time to talk about my round 1 opponent. A face who's been in my videos before, the JanArcs. Jan and I have played it a handful of times, so I was fairly confident in my ability to take the first round. But his main Wii Fit trainer is nothing but Cuphead. With core mechanics such as Sun Salutation, Deep Breathing, and that goddamn soccer ball we hate, puts Pyra on the edge. But I haven't had time to waste. We were set to be on stream, and here's how the game went. Upon our gentleman's agreement, we decided on PS2 for game 1. PS2 being one of my better stages made me feel very confident here. It was important that I get my damage with Mithra while still making the threat of Pyra very unpredictable. I've played Jan enough to know that he likes to abuse the soccer ball, as well as Wii Fit's disjointed ass smash attacks. The key word here is smash attacks. Keep mind of this. This, in tandem with a properly placed Providence Revolt, was able to close out his first stock. I proceeded to have a bit of trouble getting back to stage and properly find my footing, losing a lot of momentum. I was able to get some of my momentum back, but after I poorly timed down air expecting him to chase me, I lose my first stock. I decided to start abusing PS2's platforms and Blazing End to shield me from his soccer ball, which worked out for me nicely. And with a properly placed Prominence Revolt, his second stock was as good as gone. I decided to see how far I can take my second stock's mileage, but after mistiming my spot dodge, it was a 1-1 game. I came to that stock with a vengeance, keeping my distance and punishing his get-up attack with an up smash, closing game 1. The score is 1-0 me. Game 2 was set at Final Destination, a stage we were both good at, but I know Jan, he won't go easy on me anymore. It was time to do the forbidden technique, Super Saiyan Super Serious Mode. Roll the clip, gentlemen.
Super Saiyan Jan, as we're calling it, Super Saiyan.
We start off as Mithra gets that nice combo pressure she very well excels at, with punishing the soccer ball where I can, getting him the 98%. I've been trying to catch a roll at ledge, but Jan was adamant on not letting that happen on a number of occasions. Okay, it's time to lock in. Jan might be at high percent now, but it's not that crazy of a deal, because I went 50%, I have a number of ways to kill Jan. I'll just go with Flame Nova here and... Okay, editor, get rid of Jan's first stock real quick. I was starting to lose myself due to the nervousness of being on stream, but luckily I started adapting to the situation around me, adapting to Jan's playstyle further, and started placing Pyra's big, humongous personality into Jan's second stock.
That's quite big.
With Jan's turning stock on the line, I fully expect him to go serious mode, and when Wii Fit goes serious mode, the following will ensue. Take it away, Lazy.
You see, when Jan goes serious mode, you gotta respect it. Respect the fact that Jan takes less damage, does more damage, and overall increased movement speed for a total of 12.2 seconds, all on top of a minimal 2% heal. It's not much, but it's honest work. But if Jan tries to go too serious, Pyra will smack him with her big personality, if you know what I mean. Wink wink, nudge nudge. Jan in serious mode will give the duo a run for their money, because Jan in serious mode never fucking dies. Our duo might have been playing with their food in their set here, especially when dash attack took a stock from Pyra, but with serious mode gone, the tables turn. The impossible becomes possible. And with a good old dare in the forward air, Pyra's massive personality will pierce the heavens, bringing the run to 1-0. Back over to you, Twiku.
Look. I knew Jan was a tough cookie to break. Him and I go back a year ago, where we stand today fighting for the throne. It's tough to see my friend go to loser's bracket like this, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Jan, if you're watching this, understand you put up one hell of a fight, and how you did in the tournament is a reflection of that. So for you, I will carry on. With Jan's serious mode left in losers, it was time to move on to a channel partner from a future Mario Party video. A finger-snapping cup from the 30s from the Inkwell Isle by the name of Jam. I've only fought Jam a handful of times, so I knew Jam was not a foe I could take lightly. Facing down his big brawler, in which I had no prior info to. What set could he use? How would he play? This is a matchup I was going to take on the fly. The stream is starting, it is time to head to the ring and stare down JM. We gentlemen's agreement into Final Destination. I could tell immediately he didn't pack the broken shot put, but the flaming kick similar to the iconic Falcon Punch. Except this tricky move is tough to pinpoint due to its weird animation, which ended up almost costing me funnily enough. But an unfortunate SD is enough to have the Aegis duo dominate him with the massive personality. But, I mean, just look at this blazing end footstool combo and not the, well, other stuff that'll get me demonetized. I should say that the cup managed to get me into my second phase after I mistimed my Photon Edge, but it didn't take much to blow away JM with a fully charged Flame Nova, taking the game 1-0. At this point, I was gaining my confidence and the pressure of playing in front of more than 30 people, including my homies. But now that I'm in my prime, like Goopy Legrand, I have to bring him the pain one bounce at a time. Game 2 was set to be at Smashville, a map that where I'm very familiar with. Shouts to you, Nameless, if you're watching. With the knowledge that I've gained from Smashville's moving platforms, I was... Yeah, he SD'd his first stock. I'm not really sure if that really mattered much here. JM really rolled Snake Eyes here on the bracket, because now he has the misfortune of fighting Lazy. Sorry JM, I do not envy. Now it is time to move on to my round 3 opponent. Let's see who I'm fighting.
Here we go again.
My next opponent is HM Calamity, the man set to win out the tournament from the start. Why do I say this, viewer? Because a bit prior to this, he was dominating every lobby he was in, and went on to dominate the entire friendlies rings. But with my back against the wall, and with the knowledge of my friends cheering me on, I couldn't back down from the fight. Not now, not ever. Game 1 begins. Calamity's plan was to demonstrate with Byleth how absolutely meaty her moves are, including the likes of dash attack, forward air, and back air, and much more. But Byleth has one exploitable weakness that I can play around to, and that is her speed, which ultimately led to me taking Calamity's first stock. But Calamity is a goddamn nut to crack. He knows how to properly space out Byleth's forward air sweet spot, ultimately taking my second stock. I refused to go down, not in front of the ones who count on me, and certainly not to Calamity, so I took the liberty to abuse one of Pyra's greatest strengths, her range.
That's quite big.
By staying out of Byleth's range improperly, using the hitboxes, Pyra's forward tilt, taking Calamity's second stock. But this last stock determines the game. Time to show the teacher how we perform in the class. But I know the teacher put me in my place, reading my role at ledge, putting me 0-1. This really got to me. How was he able to space out his forward air so nicely? How was he able to get in my head so fluently? I don't understand how, and what's worse is that he banned one of my better stages in Final Destination, so I opted to go Town and City, hopefully trying to abuse its length, but it turns out that in itself is a massive oversight since I felt very much on the backseat from Calamity, getting 3-stocked in the process, with his final jab killing me at ledge at 90, going 0-2, putting my tournament record at 2-1, heading to loser's bracket. I felt awful getting 3-stocked on stream by Calamity. I felt so burnt out from that first match, I couldn't focus on the second one. I just ran out of gas mentally and I was getting stressed out. But if it's one thing I know I shouldn't be upset is that I lost to Calamity. I knew going into this match it would be an uphill battle for me, and it was a sheer miracle. And even if I did beat Calamity, I knew who my next opponent would be. And to say that an adversary was upon me would truly be an understatement. But now was not the time to have my head spinning over this loss. It was time to carry on my journey into loser's bracket. After defeating JM, I knew I would have a top 12 position secured, but I also knew if I want to go any further, I need to win all my games no matter the opponent. I cannot burn out like I did with Jan and Calamity, but rather showcase the dominance of the Aegis like how I did versus JM. The good news here is that I got a break to finally grab a bite to eat since I haven't eaten in damn near 8 hours at that point, and come back to the bracket all nice and refreshed for my next game. Caveat here is that I'm fighting an old friend. If you've been around long enough, you know that Sir Bao is a longtime friend of mine, and even though I'm confident I can overtake him, there are many different ways that Sir Bao is capable of cheesing me with. Needless to say, I cannot give him any sort of leeway, otherwise it will be my death, closing the case for good. Game 1 begins as Sir Bao opts to pick Shulk. As surprised as I was not to see Bowser, it was a genuine relief not to see the Koopa King standing in front of me. But Shulk is someone who is just as threatening. People like to make Shulk a meme to the ends of the earth, but Sir Bao playing Shulk is anything but a meme, especially because Bao knows how to follow up on his combos. I was damn well intended on using Battlefield's platforms to protect me from a surprise backslash, but if I know Bao, he knows how to play against me, and certainly applied that knowledge taking my first stock. Okay, no more fooling around. It's time to lock in. I let Bao know that I'm not taking prisoners, catching his up smash, evening the score. During the course of my second stock, my game plan is to tech chase Bao into specific spots on the stage to allow him to quickly rack up percent and get good stage control. But there was one piece of the puzzle that was missing, and like with Jan, I couldn't fucking kill him. And I can't fall back on Bao going serious mode because let's face it, that's a Jan's thing. Only he goes serious mode. It was only a matter of time, but I was able to catch him with a heaven-piercing personality Lazy talked about earlier. This stock, I was well intent on turning the tables on being the slippery little bastard he despises. I took over the stage, I clashed the Mementos with the Aegis on multiple occasions, but ultimately, he was able to catch me with his up tilt. At this point in the game, Bao was running out of steam. He gave me a run for my money as he scored up 50%, which in tandem with Smash Mementos, which could easily spell death if he provided the proper opening. I was not going to give him that. I successfully depleted Smash Mementos, but now that it's off recharge, he has it back. And now that both players are running out of steam, any hit could be the end. But after he went Smash Mementos, I finally realized his percent. Bao was one small hit away from death. If I can catch him with Flame Nova, then it was certainly curtains. So after jumping from ledge, I caught him with my Flame Nova, scoring a screen KO, putting the set 1-0. One more win, and I make top 8 guaranteed. The next match was set to be at FD, and Bao opted to go Captain Falcon, in hopes of being able to close the space between us with some nice damage. Bao's game plan seemed to be working, but I needed to abuse Mithra's speed to be able to keep up with the Bird of Prey. Now that I have him in killing percent, it's time to close out this stock with a... Let me do a retake on that. Now that I have him killing percent, it was time to close out his stock with a Prominence Revolt. Jeez, was that so hard? Moving on, our second stocks seemed to be back and forth from Mithra and Falcon exchanging blows over the course of neutral, but as Bao tried to spike me, Mithra clipped the bird by its wings, sending him plummeting. Top 8 is just beyond my grasp. I knew my good friend's tournament stock was on the line. Reluctantly, I had to give him the fight of his life. Bao knew what was on the line, so he evened up the score by stock, by percent, but Bao was no longer playing around. So, I knew what I had to do. Bao seemed to really dominate the stock as it progressed. I started fighting back. I brought his landings, I spaced my aerials. I caught his roll from ledge, and after multiple close calls, it was time to switch to Pyra and wrap up the game with a back air, sending me to top 8 and my friend to his demise. I'm so sorry, Bao.
I'm so sorry, Bao.
Listen closely and never forget. Believe in you, not in the Twiku I believe in, and not in the Bao that you believe in. Have faith in the Twiku that believes in you.
I see. I gotta believe in the me who believes in myself?
Yes.
Wait, are you actually dead?
No, you stupid fuck. But take my advice in the top 8 and claim his knowledge.
Wait. Whose knowledge?
Whoops, gotta go. I'll see you in a Mario Party video.
After our game interaction, Bao was relying on me to bring it home, not just for me, but the version of me who's already made it to Grand Finals. One of my favorite animes is Gurren Lagann, and if it's anything I've taken away from the time spent watching it, it's that I need to believe in the me who believes in me. Which, at a glance, sounds like a corny anime metaphor, but hear me out real quick. When one believes in a better iteration of themselves, it's looking up to the me who has already made their dreams come true. It's a way of speaking to a version of yourself who's already made it, and with Bao cheering me amongst everyone else I knew, it was time to see my top 8 opponent, so I laid my friend to rest and carried on his legacy. As top 8 approaches, the final 8 are set in stone. Flame, Lazy, Q, Ghenki, Calamity, RC Scarlet, Lazpazz, and last but not least, myself. And just as I'm able to sit down and catch myself, it was already time to play. And just as Lady Luck would have it, Lazpazz was the opponent I was up against. It was time to open up a case file. To start off the matchup at hand, Lazpazz brings his Ganondorf to the fight, which on paper is a very good matchup. But now that we've hit top 8 territory, all these players were good to some degree, and Lazpazz certainly showing why he stands on business. Based on the way that he's been playing so far, I knew I couldn't just cheese him. I could exploit his recovery, but the reverse is just as true after a big forward tilt. And messing up my Photon Edge, my first stock was quickly taken from me. It wasn't much better from there. I started falling behind. I wasn't sure how he played or what he was going to do next, but it seemed he had me cornered at every angle. Hell, he even threw out a taunt to assert dominance. Don't think I didn't see that, bud. He was clearly in my head, and so reading my roll from ledge closes out my second stock. This is looking really, really grim, but I can't let him get to me, so I caught his roll with a forward smash. I'm still very much behind, but I know I can make up some ground. I was starting to run out of steam, and knew one Doria was all it took to close the game. I started to see how he was playing, so I threw out a Flame Nova to bait him and spaced out a forward smash to clip his second stock. I wasn't too far behind, but behind regardless. He read me terribly as I tried to jump over his head with a forward smash, putting me at 0-1. This next game determines if I move on to top 6, and with some intel already collected from game 1, I knew what I needed to do. If you remember my bullying Suki video, you remember something she said during one of our matches.
The whole strategy with Pyro Mithra is become Mithra. Fucking annoyed the shit out of the player by constantly harassing them. Then throw a Pyra to do the finishing blows because her damage is fucking retardedly good.
That's right. I've been playing Aegis wrong this set. I was too busy trying to cheese Ganondorf before he could cheese me, but don't get me mistaken. Mithra is still required to dance in circles around the King of Darkness, but I needed Pyra to close his stocks and take the upper hand here, especially with my tournament on the line. But Lazpazz wasn't going to give me that easily. I had to work for it, especially now he caught on to me going to PS2's ledge. But here's where I really started abusing a move of Pyra's that doesn't really get talked about enough. Neutral. Coming in at frame 11, with 11 more frames the move is active, I am able to use it to control the stage, because if Ganondorf is above me, I can very much catch him with a plethora of tools, while limiting the options he can get back to stage. All combined with the knowledge of Flame Nova from the bullying Suki video, I was able to trap him at ledge, closing out his second stock. I was able to pick up a bit further on the second stock, tacking on damage where I can, before fumbling my Providence roll recovery. I am down to my tournament stock. It was time for Pyra to display her massive personality to the great King of Darkness, our lovely hosts oh so love to see. Roll the clips, editor.
Let's be honest, we all know why everybody loves Pyra and Mithra.
Yeah, because they have a big personality.
A very big personality indeed. Please stop looking at the amazing personality and actually fight her.
Yeah, stop looking at the amazing personality.
Stop looking at the amazing personality and fight her.
I needed to close the game right here, right now, especially due to the fact that my shield was getting dangerously low. But with a mighty dash attack, I was able to safely close out the game 1-1. It was time for game 3. It all comes down to this. Game 3 was back at PS2, and it was time to use my knowledge to awaken and be the drill that pierces the heavens. This game, I knew Lazpazz and how he plays. Over the course of games 1 and 2, I was starting to feel for his playstyle. It was utter dominance at this point. Ganondorf versus Aegis is one of his worst matchups, and based on how often I fight Ganondorf, I'm very familiar with the matchup, so I closed the first stock with Mithra forward smash as poor Ganondorf couldn't recover from that. He made an effort to get the damage on me, but I read the various options he failed to tech chase me on. I managed to keep Ganondorf off stage with Mithra's Ray of Punishment, eating his second jump, having him fail to recover once again. Lazpazz being on his tournament stock, it was time to dominate the great King of Darkness with Pyra Mithra's massive personality. I compiled all the knowledge I've gotten together to pierce the heavens, I mixed up my rolls, I kept control of the stage, but in the end, I closed it off with one fell swoop. This triumph was enough to put me on the warpath to make top 5 at the tournament. I needed a moment to recover after that win, so I let my mind rest and forged a path to a new chapter. For my friends, and for those who counted on me, it was time to carry on. After leaving Lazpazz, I needed time to relax and think about the journey that I have gone through on my way. The ordeals I have truly gone through. I had to take out my friends in cold blood. I had to struggle versus Calamity, knowing my worth as a player, but most of all, I knew this case was far over. With only 6 players left of the 25, I knew this wasn't going to be easy. Calamity, Scarlet, Lazy, Q, Ghenki, and myself. Standing proudly amongst these very talented individuals, I knew that if I fell here, I would regret nothing. In the end, only one player is able to take it home, and to take it on home would mean more than anything to me. Not because of a cash prize, but due to my own satisfaction of being able to stand amongst these talented players and triumph. But regardless, I need to face down my next opponent, Ghenki. If I defeat Ghenki, I'm guaranteed paid out. It all comes down to this. Ghenki pulls up to the match, and what I saw genuinely surprised me. To say I had mixed feelings about this game 1 would be an understatement. He played Mewtwo? Huh? I was taken back by this. Ghenki clearly wasn't taking me seriously, and I had full intention on making him pay for his cockiness. The match went very back and forth as I started to feel myself in the back foot to Genki's Mewtwo. Even though Ghenki is a powerful foe, I learned a lot of the Mewtwo matchup from Lazy since he plays Mewtwo as well. The thing that I struggle with Mewtwo the most as Aegis is his Shadow Ball, but that's not what clipped me. He got me with a down smash, putting me nearly a whole stock behind. This is bad. I needed to wrap up this kill with Pyro ASAP. If I let Mewtwo get any more damage on me, I might not be able to recover. I whack him with the Metal Type, closing out his first stock shortly after. I try to burst down Ghenki with Mythra's Photon Edge, attempting to whip punish him where I could. But if it's something I know about Mewtwo that's common knowledge, is that his tail hurt box is his biggest weakness. So I grabbed the cat by the tail, closing out Genki's second stock. Victory was firmly within my grasp. This match was damn well down to the wire. I wasn't gonna let Ghenki sandbag on me and get away with it. It was time to go all out. I went Pyro to clip his various options with Flame Nova, my beloved, and try to play directly into his head. I wanted Ghenki to think about Pyro's massive personality, because in the end, the circumstances of my birth are irrelevant. It's what I do with the gift of life that will determine who I am, and therefore, I will win game 1. When I said I want to be taken seriously after my defeat with Calamity, I fully intended to kill every last adversary. I let Ghenki know from that match I wasn't accepting anything else but the best. Lest I would put an end to his run. And what I saw next made me beam with both a feeling of happiness and a sense of dread. Game 2 starts at Final Destination. With Genki's tournament on the line, he was going all out. So I had to show Ghenki that I meant business. At the beginning, we were trading percent and overall exchanging blows, because I knew if I won this game, top 4 was directly within my grasp. But again, it's not about the money. It's about showing how fierce of a competitor I really was. But Ghenki jumping over my blazing end, back airing me in the process took out my first stock. I was really starting to lose a lot of momentum since I SD'd my second stock after being in up air and lag for too long. I did manage to take a stock on him, but at that point, I was damn near out of steam in the tank. It was a painful end, but an exchange between the two of us tied the set 1-1. I felt bad fumbling as hard as I did during that game, but you know what? If I fell here, that's okay. And if I'm not the strongest in the tournament, that's also okay. I was well set on holding my promise. I was going to give Ghenki the match of his life. Ghenki is a great opponent and a greater person to be around. It would be nothing short of an insult to hold back on him. Our tournament lied on this battle. Game 3 was set to be at Kalos League. Like in Game 2, we exchanged blows at a very close rate. It's like we were neck and neck together. But Ghenki knew how to close out my first stock with a side B into up air. But in short, I retaliated with a Prominence Revolt, catching the bird from the skies. Ghenki then got a lot of ground on me with one of those Falco cutscenes, putting me at 72%. I was starting to lose a lot of momentum, so I had to use many of Mythra's assets to gain my ground back, including her Lightning Buster, and of course, her massive personality, to get the leg out. But after taking the stage of Genki's back air, I knew after my misinput, my time in the tournament was coming to a close. But I was adamant on going out with a bang, but such wasn't the case. After a failed attempt to make it back to the ledge, I saw Mythra plummet to her death, putting me at a total tournament score of 4-2. In the end, I knew my lifeline was running out, so overall, getting 5th place in the tournament wasn't that bad. I tied with Lazy, so being able to stand next to my fellow content creator is an accomplishment worth being proud of. So good games, Ghenki. Next time, I will be the one to take you down. After my game with Ghenki, I was bummed out that I couldn't obtain top 4. Even if I went on, I was fighting Q, and Q's Terry and Samus were 2 characters that give Aegis the hurt. I'm not sure how much further I would have gone with Scarlet, Calamity, and Q left. I was already treading on territory that few people across the Quniverse, Lazy Gang, Mario Minions, and even my gang, Shin Megami Twiku Cockturn, have come across. So if you want to join the Discord server, I'll put it in the description of this video. After watching a glorious grand finals between Calamity and Scarlet, and having the opportunity to commentate on the game was truly my pleasure. It was all fun and games until Calamity managed to close out grand finals, winning him the whole tournament. It was a really fun experience, and I did a lot better than I initially intended. So I walked away from my setup to spend time dealing with the responsibilities I neglected to attempt to take home the crown. Even though it was in vain, I had a blast. All my friends congratulated me on my grand accomplishment. I knew all these people cheered for me, and being able to be the drill that pierced the heavens and provide them a good showing was well worth it. And you can go check out Q's Twitch stream, which has my matches versus JM and Calamity on it, so please be sure to check him out when you get the opportunity. I also want to give a massive thank you to both Q and Lazy for their support in the tournament, making sure this tournament was a surefire success, and putting their trust in me to help run games smoothly. I also want to thank the fellas for their contribution to my journey through our late night sessions playing Smash, getting cheesed, and learning in the process about not getting hit by a stray door, yeah. But most of all, I wanted to thank you, the viewer, for being able to experience this journey with me. If you want to see more of these journeys, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, and leave a comment, because if it's something this video taught me, it's okay to rely on your friends for assistance, just like how I did to obtain 5th and become the drill to pierce the heavens. But mark my words, I will keep digging until I see grand finals, because that, viewers, is how a drill works.